Sports Network.
By inches, the West holds on to win 5-4 tonight, and our player of the game is San Diego's defender George Fernandez in his all-star debut with a goal and an assist tonight, Ty, and what a great night in his home building for him.
We'll talk about a guy who had his heart and soul into this game. He was fighting and battling every second that he was out there and really proved it to his hometown fans that he deserved to be an all-star.
The crowd doesn't know it yet, but they're chanting George, a two-time All-American at Cal State Hayward. And the Unsung Hero Award of the '88 Championship Series, he will not go unsung for his efforts tonight. And Ty, your final thoughts on the game, a most intense battle that saw up and down action throughout the contest.
Everything that you could have asked for was here. The intensity and the spirit and the tremendous skill, the unexpected moves, the heel ball by Chico Borja, just a great game.
That had to be the goal of the night as Chico Borja set up Bruce Savage for the game's most picturesque goal. So that'll do it from the San Diego Sports Arena, where the West All-Stars beat the East 5-4 in the 1990 Major Indoor Soccer League All-Star Game. For three-time All-Star Ty Keogh, this is Bob Carpenter. This program a presentation of Bud Sports in cooperation with ESPN.
For the week of February 18th, here are the headlines in thoroughbred racing. The top two finishers of the 1989 Breeders' Cup Distaff, Bayacoa and Gorgeous, square off again in the Grade 1 Santa Margarita. We'll preview another early Triple Crown contender, the Puerto Rican super horse Mr. Frisky, a perfect 14 for 14, still in the spotlight a week after winning his U.S. debut. And the $13 million Barrett's Thoroughbred Auction Complex opens in 2 weeks with its inaugural sale. The stories, the features, the races are coming up next on ESPN.
Budweiser Thoroughbred Digest. The weekly national report on thoroughbred racing is brought to you by Budweiser. Beechwood aged for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. By Thrifty Car Rental. Thrifty is a lot of car rental company for incredibly little. By Lane's End Farm, sponsor of the Thoroughbred Digest Trainer of the Month Award. And by the Naira Net, the New York Racing Association simulcasting network.
And hello again, everyone. I'm Chris Lincoln with this week's recap of the top stories and races this week in thoroughbred racing. We begin with a rematch of last fall's Breeders' Cup Distaff, with the nation's top two fillies, Bayacoa beating Gorgeous here in the stretch run at Gulfstream Park. This past Sunday, the rematch at Santa Anita, and it's our Breeders' Cup feature race of the week.
This week's feature race is brought to you by the Breeders' Cup, promoting racing year-round with the Breeders' Cup Budweiser Special Stakes Program, the new Premium Stakes Program, and Breeders' Cup Day, racing's $10 million championship.
The Santa Margarita Grade 1 event, $300,000 a mile and an eighth for fillies and mares. Let's take a look at the field now. Carreta Tostada, 10-1, is on the rail with Sandy Holly. Kelly's scratched. Nakiska is scratched because of the sloppy racetrack. Then Robert Clay's outstanding filly, Gorgeous. Eddie Delahousie, strong second choice at 3-2. Rounding out the field, Luthier's Launch, the gray, at 15-1 with Alex Solis. Invited Guest was scratched. Then the supermare, Bayacoa, earner of $1.6 million, the richest active distaff earner, and certainly the favorite at 1-2 on the outside. Now for the call of the Santa Margarita, here's Trevor Denman.
Field sent on their way in the Santa Margarita. They all broke very smoothly. Luthier's Launch on the outside, Bayacoa and Gorgeous. Those three in a straight line as they go under the wire the first time. Carreta Tostada drops back by 6 lengths. They head to the 7/8 pole. Bayacoa going to go a little wide into that turn. Gorgeous going with her. Those two nose and nose up there. Luthier's Launch is showing much more speed than expected. She's only a length and a half off them. Another 8 back to Carreta Tostada. 3/4 of a mile to go. Gorgeous on a tight rein down at the rail, and Bayakoa right alongside of her. These two going to go head and head throughout by the looks of it. Another 2 lengths back to Luthea's Launch, who's holding her own there in third. And now it's a big gap of 10 lengths back to Carita Tostada. 5/8 of a mile to go, and Bayakoa now kicks on with it. Chris McCarron allows her to go up and take a 3/4 of a length lead. Gorgeous is there in second, and now it's 3 back to Luthea's Launch. A half mile left to go in the Santa Margarita, and it's Bayakoa now drawing off. Bayakoa set sail for home, leads it by 2.5. Gorgeous. Luthea's Launch is running a big one and holding her own in third. They pass the 5/16 pole. Bayakoa by 2 lengths. Gorgeous is not done with yet, though. She's starting to come back at her on the outside at the top of the lane, and here's the match race we've been waiting for. Bayakoa leading it by 2. Gorgeous. Eddie Dalahussein reaching for the whip. She's not finding, and Bayakoa is out there moving like a winner with an 1/8 of a mile to go. And here she comes in another one of these spectacular performances. What a mare this is. Bayakoa and Chris McCarron waltz home in the Santa Margarita.
Frank and Jan Whittam's Supermare, Bayakoa. My consultant's bid out of R. Lucia, the Argentine bred trained by Ron McEnley, ridden by Chris McCarron, who described Bayakoa as the best horse he's ever ridden on and off track. McCarron, by the way, was in the iron still. Lafitte Pinkai still not ready to resume riding after his broken collarbone injury, is expected back the next time Bayakoa returns to the track, and that could be in the big cap. Let's take another look at Bayakoa's 9th Grade 1 win, her 5th straight victory, as we go inside the daily racing form with John White and hear from Bayakoa's trainer, Ron McEnley.
Well, no surprises as they headed into the clubhouse turn. It was Bayakoa and Gorgeous. Gorgeous on the inside, Bayakoa on the outside. And that was the match race everyone had been looking forward to. And then as they turned for home, Bayakoa had a clear lead, but Gorgeous was still right there breathing down her neck. The thing was, as they came through the stretch, the match race everyone had been looking forward to really turned into a mismatch this time. Bayakoa just drew away, and it was really a good performance.
Ron, you were on the fence a little bit the past few days about going in here. There was talk of the Santa Anita handicap. What was the rationale for actually going ahead full on and running today?
Actually, it wasn't until this morning we made up our mind, Mike, when I saw the rain and the track was sloppy. I mean, she loves this kind of track. We've only had the opportunity to once before, since she'd been in this country, to run her on this kind of a track, and she did the same thing. She won very handily.
Ron, the inevitable question, she won easy today, geared down. What about the big cap?
We'll just take a day at a time, see how she comes back, and if she eats up, and I'll talk to Chris to see how impressed he was with her and what he thinks and how easily she won and so forth.
Well, it is they're definitely leaning towards the big cap, as Bayakoa received an automatic, by the way, eligibility for the big cap by winning the Santa Margarita, her 2nd straight win in that stakes. When we come back, we'll be visiting one of the nation's top riders, Julie Crone, to get an update on her rehabilitation, and also preview California's new thoroughbred sales facility, Barrett's. Stay with us on the Budweiser Thoroughbred Digest.
It's just a pure and natural beer for you. So icy cold, so crisp, so clean for you.
Of all the beers that are cold filtered, only one has that distinctively clean, crisp taste. Budweiser, cold filtered and Beechwood aged for over 110 years.
This Bud's for you.
Lane's Inn Stallion Sire Classic winners. From their first crops, Sovereign Dancer and Sportin' Life, each sired classic winners. Sovereign Dancer, son of leading sire Northern Dancer, and the Bold Ruler mare Bold Princess, sired Preakness winner Gate Dancer. Sportin' Life, son of leading sire Nijinsky 2 out of Homespun by Round Table, sired Belmont winner Bet Twice, and led the freshman sire list with his first crop. Sovereign Dancer and Sportin' Life, siring classic winners at Lane's Inn Farm for Sales, Kentucky.
Order Moore's beer battered appetizers at your favorite restaurant or bar.
Come to Barrett's for your future racing success. Our selection of March sale 2-year-olds is outstanding. A brand new auction facility, professional sales staff, and experienced consigners will make buying 2-year-olds in training an enjoyable experience. Join us for the official training preview, Saturday, March 3rd. Assure your future racing success. For information, contact Barrett's.
With Julie Crone at Santa Anita on a park bench. Julie, it doesn't seem like I ought to see you on a bench. You ought to be on a horse. Everybody knows about the injury. Tell us how you're doing, when you'll be back riding.
Well, I feel fine. It's kind of a question that's asked repeatedly, and it's starting to drive me crazy. Everyone goes, how you feel? And I'm like, I feel great. My arm is broke. I feel great. I've been running about 4.5, 5 miles a day, and just like doing lots of sit-ups and a lot of little hiney tuckers to keep my hiney nice and firm. So the jockeys will have a good view when I get back.
Well, everybody heard about the accident. Relive that for us. What happened at the Meadowlands?
I was on a horse that was running, and I was perched up on him how jockeys do. And he just stopped, and I stayed perched, and continued to stay perched until I hit the ground, and someone ran me over.
Well, everybody's been saying you'd be back by this time. Tell us what has happened, why the arm is not mended, what the treatment process is now.
Well, the arm, the bone graft didn't take, and I'm on the blue boot right now, or like a magnetic force, or something that stimulates the bone to heal and grow. And I'm hoping that it'll be what they say. They say it's anywhere from a 30 to 60-day miracle type thing, and it has a very, very high percentage rate, like 83 or 90%. And at this point, when they put my x-ray up 2 months ago and it was the exact same amount healed as it was when I broke it, you know, it's time to take another step. And that's the step we're in now. And I'm hoping to be back by the Derby.
Julie, let's make it a date, the first Saturday in May at Churchill Downs. While in California recently, we went out to Fairplex Park in Pomona to take a look at the new Barrett's Equine Sales Complex. Now, since the old Hollywood Park Sales Pavilion was torn down before the 1984 Breeders' Cup, there's been a real need for a permanent first-class sales pavilion in Southern California, a need that Barrett's president and general manager Jerry McMahon feels that they can fill.
Barrett's is here because we felt that there was a need to showcase thoroughbred horses in a sales environment in a manner in California that hadn't been accomplished.
The Barrett's Equine Auction Complex, built and financed by prominent California horseman Fred Sahadi, is located at Fairplex Park in Pomona, California, adjacent to the park's racetrack. Jerry McMahon gave us a tour of the 13.5-acre, $13 million facility.
We really put most of the early emphasis on this barn area in terms of a safe environment in which to both train and show horses properly, so that horsemen and women that come in here will see that there's been some attention to detail and that the horse was thought of number one, really, in this area. And then, of course, you move up to the sales pavilion itself, and we try to do the same thing for both horses and people in the sales pavilion.
And the sales pavilion really is the showpiece.
I think so. It's at the front end of the property, and it's pretty dramatic, and, I think it's going to do the job for us.
Barrett's breaks its maiden the day after the $1 million Santa Anita Handicap with its March 5th and 6th 2-year-olds in training sale. Their first catalog features 298 thoroughbreds, such top-name consigners as Will Farish's Lanes Inn Farm in Kentucky. Barrett's has some definite goals set for their California thoroughbred sales market.
I hope that we are able to attract new people to the business by bringing them into an environment which is professional, enjoyable, and bringing some of the sizzle back into the auction business out here.
When we come back, we'll head to the racetrack for this week's recap section. Stay with us.
I want to tell you about one of Northeast Ohio's great Ford dealers, Jim Marsh Ford, in business for 34 years. They're proud of a 97% customer satisfaction record, plus an award-winning service department year after year. Jim Marsh Ford has a complete inventory of Ford cars and trucks with prices to fit your budget, and always 75 reconditioned used cars to choose from, plus they lease all makes and models. See why people drive from all over Northeast Ohio to Jim Marsh Ford in downtown Solon, the dealer that gives you more.
There's nothing like a home-cooked meal. That's a fact. That's why the Cannery Restaurant gives you old-fashioned cooking at old-fashioned prices. We bring back the good old days with a savory prime rib dinner. Our Sunday specials include delicious prime rib soup, salad, and a beverage for only $5.99. Lots of food and lots of service for just a little bit of money. Come home to the Cannery.
Conveniently located in Sagamore Square.
When flying is the name of the game, and you don't have any wings, you better have all the right moves. It's World Cup Freestyle from Lake Placid, Friday night at 8 Eastern on ESPN.
Well, to start off our race recap of this week's top stakes events, we're going back to Santa Anita for Monday's feature on the grass. It's a mile and a half, $250,000 added, San Luis Obispo handicap for 4-year-olds and up. Take a look at the action. Trapped on the rail, spotlighted there. Frankly Perfect, the 7-5 favorite. Winner of the Hollywood Turf Cup. Follow him along a bit more now. You'll see he's on the turn. Jockey Chris McCarron working now to get him to the outside. Front the leaders, Delegant and putting. Here's Trevor Denman.
At the top of the lane, Delegant at the rail, putting alongside of him. Live the Dreamers in there, Retham on the grandstand side, and Frankly Perfect. Now these two coming strongly on the outside of the field. It's Retham and Frankly Perfect coming at Delegant. Frankly Perfect is going best, and he gets the lead with 40 yards left to run. Frankly Perfect and Chris McCarron win the San Luis Obispo.
Frankly Perfect gets up and gives trainer Charlie Whittingham his first added money win of the 1990 Santa Anita meeting and his 8th San Luis Obispo. Frankly Perfect, a 5-year-old chestnut son of Perrault, owned by actor Sylvester Stallone, hockey great Wayne Gretzky, and his boss Bruce McNall, owner of the Los Angeles Kings hockey team and Suma Stables. One of 1989's top 2-year-olds, Slavic, made his 1990 debut as a 3-year-old last Thursday in a 1.16 allowance race at Gulfstream Park in Florida. The 2-5 favorite made his move from 4th place in the turn and cruised by leader Caro's cousin in the stretch. But then Slavic had to fend off the Eduardo Asperua trained Country Day in the final yards to get the win. The Danzig colt, ridden by last year's leading money-earning rider Jose Santos, trained by Scotty Schulhofer for owner William Perry. Slavic's next start will come in the Grade 2 Fountain of Youth Stakes on March 3rd at Gulfstream Park. Now, the Swanee River Handicap, the first of 2 turf features run at Gulfstream this past weekend. The Grade 3 1.16 contest was for the fillies and mares. The Tom Skipping trained Fieldy sent off as the favorite. Let's pick up the call now. The Swanee River Handicap. Track announcer Ross Morton.
Princess Mora getting away on the front and opening up by 2. Northling is second. And from far back, here comes Fieldy with a late run. A lot of ground to make up. Here's Princess Mora. Fieldy flying on the hedge. Fieldy coming on. Princess Mora. These two at the wire. A tight finish. Princess Mora and Fieldy. Then we came back to Northling third.
That big run, not quite enough for Fieldy. Beaten by a neck by Princess Mora in the Swanee River. The daughter of Big Burn out of the mare Maimora was ridden by Mike Gonzalez, trained by Jose Mendez. The next day at Gulfstream, the $100,000 Fort Lauderdale Handicap for 3-year-olds and up. The 2 favorites, Highland Springs and Wonderkin. They last met in Gulfstream's Appleton Handicap, where Highland Springs came out the winner. Could today be a different story? Let's go again to Ross Morton to find out.
As they come toward the top of the stretch, Wonderkin looming boldly on the outside. Vaguely double in between horses. Iron Courage takes the lead. Highland Springs now moving between horses. Through the stretch. In on the hedge, it's Iron Courage. Wonderkin with Jose Santos inching up and getting the lead by a neck at the wire.
Second choice Wonderkin proved he's second to no one in the Fort Lauderdale field with a length and 3/4 win over Iron Courage. The chestnut gelding is by Dewan out of the quadrangle mare Plum's Sister, trained by Richard O'Connell. Wonderkin ridden to victory by Jose Santos. Leaving Florida, we head up to New York now. Aqueduct for Saturday's $100,000 Whirlaway Breeders' Cup at a 1.16. The Whirlaway was pretty much a 2-horse race from the beginning. D. Wayne Lucas trained Richard R. on the outside. Jim Tam Stables, a Corking Limerick is on the rail. But in deep stretch, the race decided by Corking Limerick, pulling away from Richard R. for a 3 3/4 length win in the Whirlaway. Corking Limerick is a gray colt by Relaunch out of the mare Tats Showbiz, ridden by veteran George Velasquez. 3-year-old conditioned by trainer Ted Cazares. Sunday Stakes, the Grade 3 Busher Breeders' Cup for 3-year-old fillies. It's taken by a late runner in the closing yards of this race. Keep your eye on the rail as rider James Bruin in the red weaves My Girl Jenny inside of the horse in the black and yellow. Bad Gertie, and then flies up the rail to beat second-place finisher Highland Talk by a length. It was My Girl Jenny's first added money win, and the $59,000 winner's share more than doubled her career earnings. Daughter of Hostage out of the Buck Pass mare Sleep On It is trained by William Terrell for owner Hugh Keith. Aqueduct finished off the holiday weekend with the 16th running of the Grade 3 mile and an 8 Stymie Handicap. You saw Wonderkin win the Fort Lauderdale earlier. Well, his trainer, Richard O'Connell, also has one in here. His stable star, Aqueduct Handicap winner, Congalore. He's in the green and yellow, dueling with King Swan for the lead.
King Swan leads into the stretch by a head. Congalore comes on again on the rail. Gaining ground on the outside, it's Academic. Further out, Dual Elements looking for room is Silver Survivor. It's Academic on the outside, gets the lead. Congalore on the rail now second. King Swan dropping back. It's Academic leads clearly by a length and a half. And Congalore on the rail is second. It's Academic in front.
It's Academic wins his first race of 1990, and in doing so, pushes his career earnings to over $980,000, closing in on the prestigious $1 million mark. The 6-year-old son of Soft Boat out of the Arts and Letters mare After School, trained by Luis Barrera, ridden by George Velasquez. Got one late ad for you. Just results of a mistake run at Oaklawn Park on Monday. The Martha Washington. Take special note of this one because Classy Irene, owned by Cal Partee, trained by Lynn Whiting there, ridden by, of course, Pat Day, won her 5th straight victory. And she's a filly to be remembered now, Classy Irene. Also, the folks at Oaklawn, a bit giddy over their figures to this point, and they should be. Their attendance up 32% over 89 figures, 24% mutual handle up. They've had an outstanding meet. They outdrew Santa Anita this past weekend in total attendance figures. Well, we're going to come back with a look at another top Triple Crown candidate. You're looking at Mr. Frisky as he works on an off track at Santa Anita with, of course, an eye towards the Derby Trail.
Here's the last stop on our tour. The Fountain of Youth.
This one's on me.
How about an ice cold bud, young man?
I love this job.
Be a winner racing in Illinois. The state's Breeders' Fund program of more than $15.6 million annually provides incentives for all owners and breeders of Illinois registered thoroughbreds. From special stallion owner bonuses and breeder awards to exclusive racing programs, including an average of 2 races daily for Illinois breds and a series of 30 lucrative stakes races. Be part of a winning thoroughbred breeding and racing program. Race in Illinois.
If you weren't part of the New York Racing Association's simulcasting network in 1989, here's some of what you missed.
The entry running 1-2. Dancing Spree seeking the goal. Closing ground. Proper reality to the wire. Open Mind closing. Open Mind on the outside gains the lead. It's New York's Easy Goer in front.
Don't miss out in 1990. Call us today.
In the glory days of Rome, Caesar entertained his guests with the most spectacular sporting events in all the empire. 2,000 years later, he still does. Caesar's Palace. Relive the legend.
Continuing our features on early 3-year-old Triple Crown contenders for 1990. You know, last week we had Summer Squall in the spotlight in Florida. Well, we're going to go to California now this week with a feature on Mr. Frisky from the barn of Hall of Fame trainer Laz Brera. Mike Woolman takes a look at this undefeated colt.
It's been 14 years since Bold Forbes carried the hopes of Puerto Rico to victory in the Kentucky Derby. Now, trainer Laz Brera is hoping the new Puerto Rican wonder, Mr. Frisky, can do likewise, and in so doing, give life to a stable that's fallen on lean times.
Yeah, I need at this moment horse look like Mr. Frisky because most of the good horses I got being retired and some being given to some other trainers, and I think I had to be, I needed the horse to give me a shot on the arm, and I think I got it.
The most impressive thing about Mr. Frisky's 7-furlong win here on February 10th seemed to be the way he got the job done.
The owner showed up the day of the race and asked me how I'd acted in the morning. I said he was real quiet, and they said that to expect a different kind of horse in the afternoon, that he gets fired up and he acts like he's going to war. And I walked out of the jock's room, and he was kicking and squealing and just full of himself, and he was like that all the way to the starting gate. He's a professional racehorse. We got lucky and drew the outside where I didn't have to really be concerned about how he broke or anything, because he wasn't going to get any dirt in his face, whether he broke bad or not. And we were content. He did break a little bit slow, and we were content to lay off of the pace a little bit, and he paced him and was just absolutely galloping behind the front horses, Tarascon, and I thought Tarascon was the horse to beat that day, and we just clocked him until the 5/16 pole, and he went on with his business.
Mr. Frisky, the wonder horse from Puerto Rico, now gets the lead from Tarascon. A 16th of a mile to go. Mr. Frisky is going to keep his unbeaten record intact.
Unlike Bold Forbes, who used New York's Bayshore and Wood Memorial as Derby stepping stones, Mr. Frisky will remain in California, with his next stop being the 1-mile San Rafael.
I think I got a lot of race to pick up what I want to do. But I think horse don't going to run too many times. He already run 14 times. That's a lot of times. And I think run the 1 mile, and then he go to the Santa Anita Derby 1 mile and 8.
Mr. Frisky, 14-0, the pride of Puerto Rico. Now let's check this week's Triple Crown National Poll from Thoroughbred Racing Communications at the leaders heading towards the Kentucky Derby the first Saturday in May.
A kiss? Oh, not right now. You really don't want to kiss me.
Dangerous. Very dangerous.
Give me a minute, honey.
Don't let morning breath ruin a good morning. Get Scope. Scope has 2 powerful ingredients to kill 90% of the bacteria that cause morning breath.
Didn't I hear something about a kiss?
Right here. Right now.
Kiss me.
It is time for a kiss.
Scope, the best thing first thing in the morning.
Hey, you. Put that kiss right here.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Give me a break. Give me a break. Break me off a piece of that Kit Kat bar. Give me a break. Give me a break. Break me off a piece of that Kit Kat bar. Got a chocolate crispy taste gonna make your day. That's why wherever you go, you hear the people say, give me a break. Give me a break. Break me off a piece of that Kit Kat bar.
This week on Speed Week at 11 o'clock Eastern Time, Friday night, a complete wrap-up on all the activities at the Daytona 500. Speed Week, the motorsports coverage you deserve, Friday night at 11 o'clock Eastern Time.
You're watching ESPN, the Total Sports Network.
We continue now on our search for the Lanes End Trainer of the Month for February. Here are some top performances from this past week. Ron McAnally adding his second Grade 1 win of the month with Bayacoa and taking Sunday's Santa Margarita. Charlie Whittingham, his first big stakes win of 90 with Frankly Perfect, winning Monday's San Luis Obispo. And Lawrence Murray saddled the winner of Monday's $200,000 General George. King's Nest winning there. The heavy favorite Dispersal ran 5th, beaten some 6 lengths in that. Well, now let's join Dave Johnson out at Santa Anita for this week's feature, Horse Talk.
Talking horses with Cliff Goodrich, who's the president of the Los Angeles Turf Club operating Santa Anita. Cliff, Santa Anita means something for people who live in Arcadia or the Valley or the Los Angeles area. But what do you tell people from around the country what it's like to go to the track here?
Well, I think it's a unique experience, Dave. I think people who've been here probably talk about the backdrop, the San Gabriel Mountains, and the beauty of the facility. It's 56 years old, and yet we always are trying to do some new things like the new turf course to keep it up to date. And I think it's one of the most beautiful racetracks in the world. At least that's what people tell us, and we plan on keeping it that way.
Presenting an outstanding skein of great races, and this season, an interesting highlight with Shoemaker's last day.
That was quite a day, and it really, I think, kind of carried the rest of the meeting because it was a grand day for us, and and a tribute to really a legend. And I think everybody that was here will never forget it.
What was your final attendance on that day?
64,573, probably 35,000 people more than we would have had otherwise.
And as you look forward, Cliff, what's happening in Southern California and for Santa Anita in particular?
Well, intertrack wagering has just taken off. We'll be up some 20% this season, sending our signal to Southern California. We will probably be up 100% in sending our signal to other states. And I think that's where the future of racing is, not just for Santa Anita, but for a lot of tracks, to get their signal to the people so that more people in America can enjoy this great sport.
Talking horses with Cliff Goodrich, president of the Los Angeles Turf Club, and we'll be talking more horses next week.
Big race we'll be covering for you this weekend, the Don Handicap. Older horses in the spotlight at Gulfstream Park, and Summer Squalls to make his debut. And finally, a belated happy birthday wish to the great Hall of Fame rider and trainer, Johnny Longden, 83 last week. We'll see you next week. So long, everyone.
Budweiser Thoroughbred Digest, the weekly national report on thoroughbred racing, has been brought to you by Budweiser. Beechwood aged for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. By the Breeders' Cup, racing's $10 million championship. By the Illinois Department of Agriculture, promoting Illinois registered horses year-round. And by Caesars Palace Las Vegas, relive the legend. Ground transportation provided by Thrifty Car Rental. For reservations at over 700 locations worldwide, call Thrifty at 1-800-4CARS. Statistics courtesy of the